One of the hardest lessons I had to learn early on in real estate is not taking overpriced listings. And I'm embarrassed to admit I did this 4 times, taking a listing, marketing it, knowing that it was substantially overpriced. And every single time, even though I had told the seller upfront at the listing appointment that I didn't agree with the pricing, every single time they would end up mad at me. And I would end up out of money because obviously there is a substantial upfront cost to putting a home on the market. I would be doing everything I possibly can to market this home, knowing that it's simply overpriced. It didn't matter what the marketing was. The market was saying this property is overpriced. And every single time the seller ended up frustrated with me, and every single time I lost the listing. And it was my own fault. When you're a new agent, it is incredibly difficult to turn business down. And let this be a reminder that not all business is good business. It is absolutely not good business to take an overpriced listing, end up spending a bunch of money, having it never sell, and having the seller not even respect you as a real estate professional, even though you told them up front that their pricing isn't correct. And I actually just left a listing appointment where the seller and I were not remotely close on where this house should be priced. And this house has already had one agent who wasn't able to sell it. And I really don't think it was the agent. It's because of where the house was priced. And yes, improvements could have been made on presentation and marketing. But at the end of the day, if a property is not priced correctly, the rest really isn't going to have an impact. And if a seller is not within $10,000 of where I know a property should be priced, I thank them very much for their time and I get on out of there. But I do leave the door open and say, listen, I hope everything goes well for you. But if it doesn't go as planned, give me a call. I'd love to connect with you. And I just leave the door open just like that. Most of them are very shocked that I close up shop and say, thank you, but no thank you. But fortunately, I finally learned my lesson years ago that one, I know what I'm doing way more than any seller. And that's the reason they should be hiring me. So if they don't even trust me to price their property correctly, I already know it's going to be a bumpy ride. Two, I simply do not have time to waste on an overpriced listing. I would rather focus my efforts on listings that are actually going to sell with sellers that trust me, or working with buyers, or doing something personally that I enjoy. And for me, it is quality over quantity. I'm not going to be spinning my wheels trying to get a house sold that isn't priced correctly. Now, there are certain markets, like the market that we experienced in Northern Virginia and probably in most markets in the United States in the 2021 timeframe, like late 2020, even to early 2022, where yes, you could get away with pushing the market a little bit. Right now, that is absolutely not the case. Buyers are super, super sensitive to price. They perceive rates as high, they perceive affordability as low, and they're picky. And I get it. I get where they're coming from. But from a seller standpoint, there are way too many sellers who think that they can price a home aspirationally and they're going to have buyers lined up, and they're absolutely not. And this seller that I met with today wanted to price 50,000 higher than where the market is. And it's just a waste of my time, and it's a waste of your time too. It's a matter of working that muscle and being confident in your pricing and knowing that you know the data. Sellers have the data now because of the internet, but that doesn't mean that they understand how to interpret the data and the nuances of the market. Most of them, I would say 99% of the time, have a somewhat reasonable idea of where their house should be priced. And then we come in and solidify, here's what this data means, and here's why this is where your home needs to be priced. But if they are pushing back and they are questioning or just flat out saying, no, my house is worth more, that's emotion. And real estate, as far as pricing goes, does not run on emotion. The market will bite you so quickly, especially right now. So as agents, it's our job to hold firm. And if you want to take an overpriced listing and feel that you can sell it even when it's priced too high, of course, that's a business decision that is on your end and no judgment. You can run your business however you want. Taking it from someone who has been doing this for a really long time, it is not worth it. It is not worth the frustration. It's not worth the money. It's not worth the stress from the unhappy seller that is questioning why it hasn't sold. Just none of it is worth it. And you could not pay me to take an overpriced listing. On the flip side, I do like to leave the door open because I can give at least 4 examples over the years of listing appointments that I went on, respectfully declined the listing because the pricing was just not in line with where I knew it needed to be. And then I got the call after the house didn't sell with another agent or sometimes 2 other agents. And at that point, the seller is in a different mindset. They just want that property gone. They've been through the hassle of getting the pictures done, the video, the showings, constantly keeping the house clean. And at that point, they have a different thought process they are using, and they want to work with an agent that is no BS and is actually going to get the job done, not the one that over promises and under delivers. And I think that that is an important point of this. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to really show any emotion at all. For me, it's just a thank you for the opportunity to come and meet with you. This is not going to be the right fit because I cannot sell your home at this price, and I'm not going to BS you, and I don't take overpriced listings. It really is as simple as that. And leaving that door open to get the call, you could get an opportunity down the road. Now, there are going to be some that you see go up, they're listed way too high, and eventually that seller, they keep the agent, but eventually they drop the price to the point of where you probably told them it would sell anyways. And then from there, it goes ahead and sells. To me, though, that's still not a loss because I guarantee you that listing agent dealt with a lot of extra BS because of where the home was initially priced and the seller not being happy that that's not where it sold. The goal is always shortest days on market, highest amount of money. It's as simple as that. And listings that have been on the market for months and months and months are what I like to call stale bread. And nobody pays top dollar for stale bread. So when you're in your next listing appointment and you know you've got that pricing dialed in, and pricing is an art. It is not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks. There is a real art to running comps and making the appropriate adjustments to that data to make sure that you are properly positioning your client's home on the market. Believe in yourself and really hone in on that skill so that when you go into that listing appointment, you are completely confident that you know exactly where that home should be priced and why it should be priced there, and be able to explain that on a very detailed level that's easy for your client to understand. And if they don't agree with you and they're out there with this idea of aspirational pricing because they raised a family there or whatever their emotional connection to the home is, you can walk out of there knowing that you just dodged a bullet with dealing with an unhappy seller for months to come. I hope you got some value from this. If you have any experience taking an overpriced listing, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.